wine, and after like a few days, like kind of like after day 5, I was
Right?
kind of.
Oh, welcome to another episode of Tough Talk Tuesday. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Biggers. Alongside me, it's going to be Sakura A, James, Rob. How's it going, guys?
Episode of Tough Talk Tuesday.
The good.
Yeah. I know
What's
I've
up,
definitely,
guys?
I know I've definitely felt better, but we had a good weekend. Main event anyway. The rest of the card, not so much. But I'm gonna turn it right over to Rob because apparently he wrote a paragraph. So Rob,
Are you serious?
I hand it over to you, my friend.
Look. First of all, let me just say this. First off and foremost, hands off to Usyk. Okay, I do take my hat off to Usyk for fighting a great fight. His game plan, everything was just a great fight that night.
I feel a butt coming.
Right.
Look, my hats off to Usyk for what he did. But I have some questions. I wrote them down and I kind of answered them to myself. First issue number one. Does he have enough power for this division? No, he does not. He couldn't KO Chorizo I call him Chisora.
Chisora.
He couldn't knock out Chisora. And then now he goes in and fights an AJ that really was, fighting a fight that was tailor-made for Usyk. He did hurt him a little bit, I'll give him that, but he couldn't knock out Joshua at all. Those other guys out there with Wilder and Fury, because those are the creme de la creme up there now, which is people are going to want to throw Usyk under. He's not going to be able to put a dent in either of them. So really, he doesn't have that knockout power yet. Now, I will say this, though, and it's evident as you go throughout your career, with victories like this, it can help him gain more confidence. And that confidence can lead to more accurate punching, but it also can lead to him taking more risk. And if he does that, then maybe that power will show. But for right now, he lacks a lot of confidence in that. He's not willing to engage to get off all of those power shots that he has in his repertoire. He's not going to be able to knock anybody out in this division.
Do you have to? You don't, right? I mean, plenty of people make a living out of not knocking people out. Does he have to?
That's a good question.
No, he doesn't.
Let's go to the panel then. Lucas says no.
In my opinion, you said he still doesn't have heavyweight power. I would disagree completely with your answer that you gave. I say it proves that he does have power. He's able to keep Joshua off of him. Did he not do that effectively throughout the fight? If it wasn't hurting him that bad, he would have walked right through it, Rob. He couldn't walk right through it. Therefore, I think he does have power in the heavyweight division, at least enough to be respectable. I agree with you in the fact that he ain't knocking nobody out, but I think he's got enough pop to keep people honest, a la Floyd Mayweather. He's got that, but I agree with you in that he doesn't have knockout power.
So let's go around. Go ahead, James.
I was saying, Sakura, go for it.
Yeah, what I noticed is I was thinking if it had been like even an additional round, AJ would have been laid out to me. So, I mean, I wouldn't say he doesn't have any effective power. I would just say that a larger heavyweight or a heavyweight, even AJ size, that knows that they're a heavyweight and acts accordingly. Maybe he wouldn't have had as many opportunities to land and systematically break a different opponent down. As far as does he need it? There's two categories to that. Does he need it for the win? No. Does he need it to make money and to garner more fans watching him? Yes. Heavyweights are watched for a reason, and that's because most people know usually it comes with a knockout. So it depends on which way we're trying to look at this as far as power is concerned. In one way, yes, he does need it. And in an additional way, no, he can keep winning the way he just won. And as I just, and mind you, that's with me saying that, had this been the old days of 15 rounds, AJ would have definitely been a goner. And apparently his training team was telling him to back off AJ in that way and just stick to boxing. So we really don't know for sure, had he been more intense and aggressive the way he wanted to, the way he was beginning to be, if it would have had, if he would have gotten that knockout.
It looked like it was headed that way.
Yeah, now this is also taken into context that AJ, has had a suspect chin for quite some time, and we don't know if he has the type of chin that, the average heavyweight normally has. So we also have to keep that in the back of our mind, too, when discussing that.
True.
See that? Yeah. No, my thing is that I don't think that it was ever in their game plan to go out after Joshua for a knockout. I think that they had settled on outscoring him in every round, and they did it pretty soundly. I think these guys won that fight in the corner. They went to the gym, and they had the correct approach, and it was about scoring off the back foot, with a lot of movement and good decent jabs. And man, I saw a really really deep toolbox with Usyk, but he did everything. He did everything well. I mean, his foot movement was awesome. Footwork was great. Placement. Generally, he had Joshua where he needed him. But I mean, as far as power goes, which was the question, he's got power. Maybe he's not. He doesn't have that terminal power like some guys just out there are just killers. Wilder, it's unparalleled. He's got his shortcomings too. It's just hard to make that comparison because I don't think it was in his game plan. I think his game plan was again score and open up that range and keep going and keep building on it. And so, but I agree with you that the power, maybe not, monster power, terminal power, but he's pretty good. And you know what? If you don't have that power, it's okay.
Okay.
He can box. He can box.
James, what you just reminded me of, I just had to say, guys, it's like we got to give these judges credit, even though one was a little far off.
Yes.
But I really didn't think he was going to get that decision if it went to a scorecard.
I was worried. Of course, I was worried, but
yes,
I'm very delighted.
Yeah,
I didn't have something to bitch at.
It was a good call. Okay, guys, this is the heavyweight division. Not just that, the heavyweight championship at stake and multiple titles on the line here. You have to have some power. Now, does he lack power? In my opinion, yes. But he also lacks it in one other category. He lacks confidence. It's the confidence in me. So when I'm talking about power here, I think Usyk does have power in throwing combinations, throwing more accurate punches. And he showed that in this fight because he got to AJ.
But where do you see that he's like not trusting his own power?
Engaging in trying to take the guy out.
That's not necessarily him doubting his own power, though. That's him being also understanding I'm a small heavyweight.
That's him being scared and lacking confidence. Even though he's a smaller heavyweight, he had AJ tailor-made. He had him tailor-made. I want to see a heavyweight take it to the champion. I want to see him win without a doubt, without any question.
Okay, so you don't think Usyk did that? Do you not think Usyk stamped on that fight, I won? Because it was clear as clear can be for me and I think most other people. But you're telling me that he did not make a clear, definitive, I won this fight.
No, and here's why.
You out of your goddamn mind.
Let me just say this. Before I say no, he didn't definitively do it. Let me say this. Anthony Joshua sucks, okay? He sucks. Anthony Joshua gave him this fight. He gave him this fight. And the way that he came out there, and the way that he...
So you're going to throw everything Usyk did away just because, oh man, it's AJ. He's already known to get knocked out.
I gave credit to Usyk at the beginning of it, but yes, Anthony Joshua is terrible.
All right, but Rob, there's two ways to look at it, man. It's a two-way street here. You say that he gave him the fight, or did Usyk take it? Usyk took it. In my book,
he did not take it.
He took it. Went right at him with a great game plan, executed, and won.
Yep.
Nobody gave Usyk shit. He earned it.
Okay.
He earned it.
Okay, I'll give you that. Hold on. Before we go to everybody else. Hold on.
Say it again.
Let me rebuttal on that.
All right.
Joshua, what did I say coming into the fight that Joshua needed to do? He needed to fight with power. Not boxing. He needed to fight with power. Why is Anthony Joshua out there trying to outbox Usyk? We know he can't do that. We know he can't do it. He didn't use his power at all. He let Usyk dictate the fight.
Now, if he came out with power as you suggest, I almost think he would have been knocked out in that fight. He
And
is
that-
too
and-
disciplined, man. Usyk is so disciplined. You can't just be coming out swinging wild. It's not going to work.
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. It's not about Joshua letting him dictate the fight. It's more about like Usyk taking control of the fight and making the fight go his way,
He did.
at his pace, at his tempo. You know that's and this is something that sometimes is to the naked eye you can't see it, but when you see a fighter slowly but surely executing his plan, and the fight is going according to how the fighter that's leading is going on his pace, at his punches, and then the other guy's like, why is this guy doing this when he's not a puncher or he's not a boxer or he's not a runner? Well, why? Because the guy that's across from him is executing his plan so perfectly that he's making the other one get out of his plan. That's why you see the fight coming out like that. But again, people saw, oh, Anthony Joshua is bigger, he has more muscles, he can use the power, blah, blah, blah. When you throw him with power, and we know that AJ stamina is not that great, he was trying to conserve himself, but at the same time, it's like Usyk is pretty odd, not to mention he's a southpaw. I think there was times where AJ was doing the right thing, but even with doing the right thing, he was there with a greater fighter.
I got to go back, Rob. I got to go back just a little bit here. It's again about him not stamping I won. Like, Joshua was so beat the hell up, the man didn't even stand up at all after that. He sat in that corner while everything was read and done and finalized. He did not move out of that corner. How can you say that he didn't stamp that I won this fight?
I don't know.
Hey, that's true. That's true. You gotta stay on your feet after the 12th bell.
I mean, he didn't move, dude. He was beat up.
Yeah, let me make my stance clear. Anthony Joshua is not a great fighter. Not even a good fighter at this point.
I agree with that. I think we all agree with that.
Period. And he's proven that. To let a guy like Usyk come in to the back door.
See, now that's where you're wrong, Rob. You said to let a man like Usyk. So you're basically saying because Joshua lost to Usyk is why he's garbage. He didn't get
Usyk
to this level.
He's not a true heavyweight. He's not, and I'm willing to stake my career on it.
Here's the problem, I think.
Any good heavyweight in this division, wipes the floor with Usyk.
Put that pen down.
This.
Well, before Joshua was a solid fighter, now he's garbage of a loss. And this is what happens with boxing, guys.
There you go.
I'm not the only one saying it.
I mean,
you guys are hearing the airwaves. I'm not.
It was just the wrong strategy.
Well,
I think it was more so a issue with AJ's team and their strategy. They went in with the wrong strategy to begin with, and it does harping back to what you were saying, Rob, about the bigger guy trying to outbox the most skilled unified cruiserweight ever. You know what I'm saying? Well, ever is, kind of loosely, but he's up there. And you thinking that you're going to outbox this man. And by the way, he didn't look that much smaller than AJ. I mean, AJ looked taller than him, but when they got in the ring that night, I didn't really see that much difference in their, depth of size.
Yeah, height and just bulk. They're pretty close.
Yeah. I think
it's like 20-pound difference.
Would have probably went in there and had about 10 more pounds on. They said AJ was at 240. So, a different type of heavyweight would have probably went in a little bit heavier than that, knowing that there's an advantage that could be, had in being heavier. But like I said, the whole strategy was wrong. Now, does that take away from what Usyk was able to accomplish? No. And the reason I say that is just because the execution was there. Now if AJ had got in there and Usyk was kind of BSing and he was AJ was making him miss a lot of punches and then he still ended up able to squeak by in this fight, then we could have something to discuss, Rob. But the fact is that, I mean, basically he dominated almost every round. I could only give AJ maybe like one round. That is like really bad. But the judges, they said, were actually, they all had it about an even fight somehow up until the last 4 rounds. That is kind of preposterous to me. They were still trying to help AJ out. But when
Oh
you
yeah,
go to those championship rounds and you're still like looking lackluster and you're looking like you barely hanging on, and hanging into this fight, it's just so much that a hometown crew can give you. I mean, or judges. I mean, you're at the home advantage.
right.
Every little pitter pat you do, the crowd is gonna roar. That can really change a judge's mind. So that
For
goes to
sure.
show just how little the fans really had to cheer about throughout the fight.
Yeah, but you're talking about strategies, and I have a thought about that, and I think the strategy was all wrong for Joshua. So I think he should have went with heavy power punches from the get go, just to test him out, just to test out Usyk and see what he could withstand, and maybe get him out. And if that doesn't work because of his movement, and honestly, I've never seen a heavyweight move like Usyk. Never. Head movement, footwork, everything flawless. I mean, the guy's like, he moves like Chocolatito, but he's big and strong. So, but I was thinking maybe that was it. Maybe it was just go after him, go for the knockout early, like in the first three. And if you don't get it, move on to plan B, which is outbox him. But I got to stop and ask you guys a question here. Where is Joshua's power? Where is that right hand? That's your moneymaker in this business.
He
I'm gonna
didn't
tell
use
you
it.
Where is his
He didn't.
power?
He
what,
didn't
what
use
I'm
it.
thinking. What I'm thinking
Does
is,
he have it? Why
what's
didn't
the
he
Yeah,
use it?
reason, James?
he
What's the
definitely has.
reason that
But you're
you
saying
as
he
a
didn't. Sorry. You're saying he didn't use it. The fuck?
No.
He
Hold
did
on.
because
What's
he
the
wasn't given a
reason why
chance.
he wouldn't
I
use
I
it? The
understand.
That's
real
the question.
question is,
That's the
what's the
question.
real reason he wouldn't use it? And that's because he would have had to get in
Because
closer and
I,
allow that chin of his to be tested itself.
but I
And
want to
that's
say,
what AJ was scared of the entire fight. He did not want to try to test his chin. I think Ruiz lives in that brain, guys. Just as Tim and Lucas was saying, he lives. Ruiz is living rent free in AJ's mind every fight because he refuses to exchange. We're seeing this over and over again. He's not willing to exchange because then that would mean that he might also have to defend his own chin. And we see that it's not there. I think he knows it. I think he knows that that's his Achilles. And I think he was guarding it because he did not want no repeat of the Ruiz fight. I
you
mean,
got to throw a hard right. I mean, that's their moneymaker. This is the
right.
heavyweight division.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think about that? I mean,
So
I never saw a fighter with such a horrible right hand. I mean, it looked like he had a parking brake on. You know, when you got your brake on and your car's not really moving, you're like, what the fuck's going on? And
so
you
I have
finally let that brake out, and
so I
wham, you go. Where is his power? Where is that feeling where you can just break someone's jaw, with a
I
good short right, like Wilder would do? Where is
yeah,
that?
I have a
That's like
theory.
step one.
I have a theory.
Let's hear the theory.
So first and foremost, let me explain this because this probably sounds better than me the way that I was talking about Usyk versus AJ fight. Let me say this. I believe that Usyk is a better fighter than AJ. I don't think that's saying a lot for this division. Also, what James is talking about right now, where the right hand is and why he didn't throw it with passion, why he didn't throw it with heat like he's supposed to as a heavyweight, is what Shakira is talking about when it comes to him being chinny. I think there's a huge difference between chin versus heart. And I think I speak for everybody in this room that I would much rather have a
Not for me.
fighter who has a suspect chin that go out there and put it on the line with his heart and try and win a fight like you're supposed to win a fight.
Here's the problem.
Okay?
Those are two big issues. You're trading a hole in the boat for another hole in the boat. You know what I mean?
And that's what I'm trying to say. Joshua is not good.
No,
Go ahead.
Listen,
Go ahead.
That's the thing, though. First of all, let's clarify something because you said something. Oh, I think I can speak for the group. Maybe for the group, you're definitely not speaking for me. I do not agree with what you're saying. That's one.
So what do you got, Hobby?
What you guys say, right? Why he didn't throw with power? Why he didn't throw a conviction? Does he have power? Yeah, the guy has power. He has delivered us knockouts, and we saw that he kind of touched Usyk a few times. Usyk himself admitted it that he felt the power, and that's when he kind of retracted and made AJ reset. The thing about it is like when you up there and you don't see the shot, you're not gonna take it, and especially when you know that you taking risks that are not calculated, just just reckless risks, you're gonna pay for it because Usyk will be the one to make you miss and make you pay. So when you have that in back of your mind, you have somebody with that type of pedigree, you know that you cannot get sloppy with it, and that will make you, I wouldn't say gun shy, but will make you be secure, before you actually throw more. Sometimes to some fighters, it makes their output go low because they know that there's something coming back to them. The defense and all of this stuff.
They know they're about to get countered, basically.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And when you throw the hand power, your right hand with power, and you commit to yourself, you literally bend forward a little bit. You put your whole body to it. If you get caught while you putting your whole right hand on it and you get counted right there, you're gonna get dropped because you're basically out of balance every time you throw a punch, especially a power punch.
But Javi, what's worse? You going through all 12 rounds looking mediocre, or you getting, countered and laid out by taking a risk? That's what Rob is speaking to. Like,
well,
is it way worse by like dragging the fight out 12 rounds and looking horrible in each round? Or is it better to like be that, that Mexican style, like I'm laying it all on the line. I can't beat this dude by trying to outbox him, so I'm gonna have to take my chances in this fight.
Well, guys, that's the thing, though. Not everybody has the Mexican style, and not everybody's willing to just basically say, well, you know what, I don't see the fight going my way, so I'm gonna just risk it all. I'm gonna just I'm gonna see what happens. I don't think even AJ's style is not for that, and there's a lot of fighters that do not have that mentality. They're trying to probably just sustain themselves to end the round on their feet. You know what I'm saying? Because trust me, they'd rather lose a decision than get dropped. Getting dropped, getting knocked out is something that we mostly see from the Mexican fellas.
So Rob is saying that means they don't have heart. Rob is
saying I don't disagree with that because it's what I saw. But you know what? At some point in the fight, when and your corner will tell you very clearly, hey, you know what? You need to step it up because you are way behind or whatever it is that they say. It's cards on the table time. And you need to let it go. And he didn't. He was always shy with his right hand. And you know what? I was really thinking about this shit you hear on TV where the announcers say, well, yeah, he's throwing punches with bad intentions. Well, I never really thought anyone threw punches with good intentions until I saw Joshua fight last weekend. I'm like, he's trying not to hurt his opponent with that right.
Yeah.
That's the most horrible right I've ever seen. Trying to place it in there between his gloves. Fucking fire it, man. And, it's like I say, cards on the table time. Nothing.
Well, I never heard his team say anything like that either, by the way. Like, did you guys notice the team putting any urgency?
As a fighter, you got to know,
as the fight went on? I did.
I'll confess too. I hope my employers are not watching, but I was doing a little work and watching the fight, as I worked a little bit here and there. And when I came home on Sunday, I watched it, no volume, no nothing, and scored it. And I just couldn't believe how bad Joshua looked.
Yeah,
that was just, he should be really, really embarrassed with his performance. But you know what? He took it like a man, too. He didn't make any excuses. So points to Joshua for that.
You
Two questions for you,
Javi. A whole country of fans behind you no matter what you do. Like it's harder for him to be, to me, it seems like it's harder for him to be as serious about these different fights on the level he's on when you know that no matter what you do, your fan base is still like there, and they're not going anywhere. So like, the average fighter, they would be like, I gotta make sure my fans is good. I can't lose none of my fans. I don't want to embarrass nobody. I got people that's bet money on me and this and that. I mean, this guy was like pretty much like in that mode of like, where's the desire to win? Where's the
Here,
desire to
here,
not embarrass? You're in the UK representing your team, your home crowd. Like, what is
here's
going on?
here's my question. He's got all these coaches and conditioning coaches and boxing coaches galore. More than one. I think he's got like 3 coaches or whatever it is. That's all fine, but where are they? Where's the result of paying for all these trainers?
Right.
So my
Where's
issue
where's your
with
return
that,
on your investment there? Zero,
my
zilch.
yeah, no, and my issue with that too though is, and I even think he's reached out to a shrink. I think he's reached out to a psychiatrist or whatever for some of his issues.
Psychiatrist.
And and my issue with that is that eventually, I mean, you're paying all these people, right? But it still falls on you. You're getting this help. Are you reciprocating it? Are you able to reciprocate it? Are you able to go out there and do the things that you need to do? But I have 2 questions since Javi wanted to throw that out there. I got 2 questions for Javi or anybody since Javi threw this out there.
Bring it
Number
forward.
one, number one, if you're saying that he's being as a fighter, you're being too cautious because you don't want to get the counter. How do you offset that to win the fight? Okay, that's the first question. Because your goal is to win the fight, right?
Right.
Second question then, why do you not have confidence in your own power? Why are you expecting the counter and not expecting the knockdown?
Well, that plays a lot on of course, in every fight is mental, and how the first round's being on. First we call the first rounds, you call it the fill up round, right? Everybody they feel each other, they see what they got, and that's when basically it's like they download each other's computer to see what they're dealing with. So that is a question maybe that I can't ask because I wasn't there with Usyk, but
Mhm.
for from what you've seen in fighters, it would probably be where he was throwing these little things, trying different things, and for everything that he was doing, Usyk being the great fighter that he is, he had an answer for everything that he was throwing. Oh, you threw this, I'll do this. Oh, you do this, I'll do that. So when it comes to a point where everything that you do is being responded right away, you go from defense or offense to like kind of like survival mode. So now you're just trying to stay on your feet. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing that I can say about it, and why he didn't believe in his power. Let's be honest, guys. Joshua. I mean, I think we asking for Joshua to fight like, I don't know, maybe an Oscar Valdez, a Berchel. He doesn't have that Mexican style. He doesn't have that aggression. He wasn't that type of the heavyweight that comes and destroy you like a Mike Tyson or something like that. He usually boxes out, and with the time he got his knockout, well, he plays his shots. Just like when he knocked down Klitschko, he was going toe to toe with Klitschko before. He got knocked down, and then he knocked Klitschko out. But he didn't go and chase, went and seek and destroy. He was just boxing. He picked up his momentum. Once he's building momentum, he went and tried to fill the thing. I
Set
don't
it
think
up.
he ever had a
Mhm.
chance to build a momentum because every time he was trying to build a momentum, Juice stop and make him reset.
Yeah, but from his previous fights, it looks like his skills, although against Andy Ruiz, look really, really strong. He's just boxing his head off. And that's all fine. But in this fight, his skills just diminish completely. So I didn't see shit.
He didn't look
Um,
that great. I agree with that. It
oh, he
wasn't
looked
his best
horrible.
fight for
He
sure.
looked horrible.
Yeah.
Just
He
to
did.
break it down for you.
It just seems like his heart wasn't in it, and you
That's
never win
Exactly.
fights like that.
I think you're going to want to hear this comment there from Steve Alexander. In my opinion, Joshua needs to change his residency to the U.S. and hire a top American trainer. His boxing skills and boxing IQ are solely lacking if he wants to be at the top of the sport. I wish Manuel Stewart was with us. He'd be a perfect trainer for Joshua.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I can see that.
He, Absolutely. He needs a new trainer. He needs a whole new team. He needs a new regimen. Because just to break it down, everything we're saying about Joshua, just to break it all down for you, no Mexican style, no heart, no chin, no right hand, and diminishing talent.
Yeah, I wouldn't say no heart, no chin, or no power. To be honest, I just think he had an off night. But I mean, he's chinny. Yeah, we can see that he's hurt with a few shots that being played. But then again, he Andy Ruiz doesn't. Andy Ruiz is a power puncher, not and a good boxer. Usyk is also top of the line. You know, it's not like he's getting dropped by this somebody on the 50 or 45 rank order, right? Like a Ross Salga, Lucas' favorite fighter.
But guys, this is the second time that he has like ruined his chances for what's deemed to be a mega fight.
Right.
I mean, this is the
He
second time that, like right now, I could just see Al Heyman and Wilder and them laughing their ass off because he turned down $50 million check, thinking that there was so much more out there for him, and yet and still this mega fight is becoming more elusive as time goes on when he's paying for more and more training, more and more sports psychologists, you know what I'm saying, like all these things that he's paying for. And another thing, emotionally speaking, guys, you know how they say once you start talking about retirement, you've already checked out and you should just retire. How you coming out with having a contract and it's going to take you to the end of your boxing career? You've already pinpointed a date and said this is my last contract, basically. That came out earlier in the week. So I'm like, you already kind of like off in the sunset, so you can get back to your, lovely, sexy, masculine, over muscular body. You don't really like going down and being more, slender and muscle and more toned than muscle bound. You don't like that. I feel like mentally he's already checked out, but he wanted to get this huge payday first with Fury for this unification bout, and maybe that did play into his performance a little bit on Saturday. Because I told everybody, remember I kept saying it's do or die from him. He should know, like, this is like, if he don't get through this fight, he's not getting this mega fight with Fury. Well,
the one thing I see there is this is all a training issue. He could have all the trainers he wants. You don't have the right ones. It's wasting his time. It's wasting his money, and our pay-per-view money too, or in this case, our subscription fee. But honestly, this fight was lost to the gym, and that's where Usyk won this fight.
I just don't.
Came in with the right plan.
I don't understand why you guys are thinking like Joshua's just crap now. It's like he didn't lose to like chumps, guys. I mean, they're so quick to throw Joshua away. And yes, he looked bad, but he looked bad against Usyk.
But you said crap, and he looked that way.
I mean, but you look that way against Usyk, right?
I mean, you know what? He had some, his face didn't look. I mean, it looked like Usyk had been in a fight after the fight. He had some bruises and everything on his face. Yeah. It's just the fact that whether he was fighting Usyk or not, I'm feeling like we should have saw a little bit more. His hands should have been a lot more busier. He never threw a combination throughout the fight. I don't really remember, or if he did, I don't remember it. That's how little it was. Like it was always one punch, and you're thinking, oh, he's gonna follow with an uppercut, or he's gonna follow, I mean, AJ is one with his uppercut. Like, why wasn't that introduced at some point? Yeah, Usyk was gonna stop him from trying to do that, but at a certain point, it's like we should have seen some reminiscent skills from AJ from previous fights. We saw none of that. Like not only was Usyk superior as far as boxing skills, yes, but we also saw AJ fail to do some of his, regular moves. Like
I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, like I don't know what his punch output was, but
I'm with Javi on the answer and what he gave. I mean, I was thinking on pretty much the same thing he was, which is, you put yourself out there like that with those punches. them uppercuts and them big right hands, and you miss, then it's your ass. With Usyk, it is your ass. He's landing 3 or 4.
That's what every fight. Every
Only
fighter
that though,
has
but
to deal
Hey,
with
look,
that.
look,
Every
you know what?
boxer has to deal with that same
Kubrat,
thing.
that's the
Kubrat
thing though,
Pulev,
guys.
Kubrat
You
Pulev,
gotta understand. Part of this gun shyness, part of this him not going for broke at the end of the rounds. You know, when he know he was behind, that part of that is because even when he wanted to do that, he wasn't allowed to do that. That ring had a name, and the name was Usyk. Usyk made sure that he knew. He told AJ, "This is what's gonna happen. This is my ring, and we're gonna fight at this pace. And we're gonna when I say we go left, we're gonna go left. When we say we go right, we go right." And since everybody, I think most people that are kind of already writing AJ off already because of this loss, is because people, yeah, yeah, saw I guess some type of advantage due to his height, to his size, to his experience, and based that Usyk wasn't that much proven yet, right? We thought, oh well, AJ should be able to handle the smaller man. And I know my man Robert cannot stand the fact that the smaller man actually got the best of the big man. You know what I'm saying? And just
You
like
shouldn't.
there's a bunch of
Yeah, I'm
there's a
with
bunch of
Rob on
people.
that. There's no way he should have allowed Usyk to
You
dictate
shouldn't.
anything in that ring that night as the bigger, more imposing body.
But
No.
that's the thing. That's the thing,
Look,
guys. Bigger muscles will help you with power, right? And you
look,
But he fell into that trap of trying to outbox Usyk, which was
right.
never going to work from the get go.
Right.
look.
That was
I
not going to work
Whenever,
in training.
because I think
go
whenever
ahead,
he
Rob.
was boxing to trying to like make it into a fight. First of all, whenever if Joshua wasn't the best option to box, and it was to make into a fight, even into a fight, if he couldn't outbox Usyk, he in a fight he would have definitely got stopped. And now we writing him off because he lost to the better man that night, right? And he didn't look like an impressive. It wasn't like those people that they lose, but they lose impressively. Like they try their best. Probably like he probably checked out a little bit early during the rounds, but I don't think we should write him off because first he was willing to fight the top guy, right? He could have easily paid Usyk money to step aside and find somebody else. He didn't do
I
that.
think. I
So I
think
think
that's a different conversation.
that
I
because
think that's a different conversation because I believe that
well, yeah, say
he
that's
wanted.
he's
Well,
garbage.
we know he wanted a bigger fight. He couldn't get the bigger fight
I
because of
think
what's
he
going
could.
on in
He
boxing.
could. He can. I think he can still make the
Okay,
money because that AJ versus Fury that will be like a blockbuster in the UK. So he knows even though he lost this, that fight could easily be made, and he's still gonna pick up. And I got news for you guys. He does not need Wilder. Wilder already
okay,
has a loss too. I don't
okay.
think he
True,
needs Wilder.
true.
Now,
But
if
go
we
ahead.
go to
This
what's gonna happen and Wilder lost, what we're gonna do with Wilder? Are we gonna say that Wilder didn't have the right this right, or we're gonna be quick to also dismiss him and be like, nah, Wilder was garbage. He was
They
always garbage.
already saying that about Wilder after one loss. No matter that, he
And that's
retained his belt for 5 years
and that's what
prior
happens
to
with
that.
boxing fans.
But that's a whole nother story, as
Right.
he's saying. I think in this situation, I wasn't necessarily thinking that AJ was gonna go in there and blow away. I was like, if he win, it has to be in the beginning, and it has to be where he's, you know, uppercutted Usyk or something like, you know what I'm saying, knocked them out some type of way in the beginning. Once it went past the first 4 rounds, I'm like, okay, now this is a totally different fight because now how's AJ gonna possibly win when we know he gonna start getting tired, when he's not engaging, and on top of that, his team is in the corner like, oh, jab from the outside. When he comes in for a jab, you jab, just shift your body and jab from the outside. I'm like, why are you trying to tell this man how to outbox Usyk of all people? It just seemed like so stupid of a strategy from the get go. And the fact is, like I said, I bet you his output was not that. I mean, there's no way he has a lot of output in that percentage wise in that fight. I mean, guys, he would not let his hands go for shit. I don't care
So
if you're
that
not hitting at the air, at least swing.
That was not
so
easy to
that
watch. It was not an
so
easy
that
fight to watch. Not at all.
Yeah.
I I
Thanks,
feel like
James.
Dale Peoples. I feel like Dale Peoples has it wrapped up here, and I'm gonna recap what he's saying. Dale Peoples says, listen, guys. The rule of thumb is If someone is boxing, then you draw, and vice versa. You don't box with a better boxer. But AJ was exposed in the second fight with Ruiz when he let a grocery out of shape Ruiz go the distance. Okay. Now I'm gonna sum it up right here for basically what Dell is saying, what I've been trying to say versus what Hobby is saying. Hobby calls it strategy. I call it scared. Okay.
All right. See,
No, I said his
everything.
team strategy. I
All
didn't.
right.
That was me that said strategy.
Yeah, but I mean,
But Hobby is trying to go that route.
no, but I think at the end of the day, you know, your trainer, your coaches, and make a strategy, and you guys work on down the gym for weeks, right? But sometimes once you're getting there, and you realize that there's a whole another phenomenon that you are against with. Sometimes that game plan kind of go out the window, and you know you just go and you do what you do, what your basic, unique style instincts. Now for
I mean,
Robert,
you know damn well they knew that Usyk was an outstanding boxer before the night of the fight.
right, but that doesn't mean that just because of that they're gonna go and be reckless with it. If you know what, just fight. Don't box. Don't try nothing technical. Just be reckless with it. Just swing a bait. I don't think that's gonna be the plan either. You know. Now, Robert,
Yeah, it might get you
now
fired
for the
as a strategist.
right now for you guys that Robert, that passage, I don't know if you was reading that passage from a viewer or somewhere in the internet saying that Joshua led a flabby looking grocery store, whatever rules for those 12 rounds, right? And it goes back to the looks. Just because AJ looks muscular and big and you know like a I don't know, like a bodybuilder, doesn't mean that he's strong and he's gonna be able to last. And just because Ruiz look flabby on the middle and like somebody that doesn't even work out at all, like it makes you wonder how the hell is this guy a pro fighter? Doesn't mean that he doesn't have boxing skills and he doesn't have power because he does. So it kind of goes to like do not looks do not help a lot in boxing unless you have like you're a good looking person and you know how to market yourself like you know Ryan Garcia, De La Hoya, and all these guys then your looks help. But muscles, my member not happy can said it himself. Muscles don't do shit in boxing. I tell you that.
Yeah, they
And
do
not
say
only
that. Now
because
they really
you
say
get
that.
heavier and you get slower, but because the more muscles you have, the more oxygen your muscles need to move
Mm-hmm.
and punch and this and that. And guess what? For your stamina better be superb because if you don't have superb stamina and you're muscular, your muscles are gonna take most of your stamina. You're not gonna be able to last at a high pace for 12 rounds. And a championship
Right.
Well,
fight.
somebody in this podcast mentioned that Joshua needs a like a sports psychologist or something like that. I think that's the answer
He
because he was
has one.
stuck in
He
he
has
was stuck.
one.
He needs another one. He was stuck in the. He needs
Said he
two or
needed
three of them.
Jim for
Everybody
Hobby.
He's got to
have
go
one.
for. He's got to go for a third one, maybe, because he was stuck in the mud, and I don't think it was anything with game plan. I think he was just, gun shy.
Going through the
I don't know
motions.
what it
Well,
is, man.
Hobby
I
question.
never seen Javi. I never seen Joshua fight like that. So my question to Javi is, I mean, how do you get over that? How do you
I
get
mm,
don't
over that fear, man? Because that's what it seemed to me.
Good question.
Like, it just wasn't him because the way he fought Ruiz and Povetkin and White and all those guys, he was a little bit more violent. Here, they
but
had way too much respect for Usyk.
guys, honestly, I think it is boxing is a lot of mental, you know, especially when somebody
It
has already
is.
lost and they, you know, you go from being on top of the world. Kind of that. Those are the same questions that I'm gonna have for Wilder, like how he's gonna come after all the talk and stuff like that, you know. But some you know, sadly, some fighters never recover from a loss, and they, you know, they just basically always have that loss in the back of their mind. And some fighters actually get better and you know they kind of like Canelo. Canelo was never the same after he lost to Mayweather. That's when he became, you know, what he is. But I think I think that if he has a sports psychologist, if it helps him, you know, bless props to him. But I also agree with you guys when you guys say he's probably might be ready for a new trainer. Maybe come to the U.S. and train, get better sparring, you know, get better methods. Somebody that's more technical and that's gonna make you use your God-given talents, you know, your unique skills to your advantage. he probably is on the next level where he's like he probably outgrew his current coach, so he maybe move on to the next level. I agree with you guys on that. Maybe that might help him. I don't know. Now, if you guys say that he needs 2 or 3 psychologists, guess what? All you boxing fans need some 4 psychologists as well, because you're so quick to throw a man under the rug just because he lost once or because he decided to like, guys, I gotta understand, just because a fighter lose to the better man that was within the top 5, the top 10, doesn't mean that he sucks or that he's already done. That just means that he lost to the better person, better fighter.
But he fought that way. He fought that way. That's the way he fought. We're basing our opinion on what we saw.
Right.
Yeah, but
you know what you said? Like, we think he sucks. You know what? What did I think when this fight was over? He sucked.
Right.
It wasn't even him. That wasn't even him.
Yes.
That's not Joshua. That's not the Joshua. It's not the Joshua that I know.
Right.
It's not the Joshua that I know.
I think I will do that. I wouldn't be able to judge a fighter that has accomplished a 3 times heavyweight championship just a one night off. He probably had a night off, so I'm not gonna write him off just yet. Now, if I see this constantly, like basically what we saw with Broner, when he was losing back to back 3-4 fights, that's when I say, okay, you pretty much you were not. I don't think you're gonna accomplish what you were set out to do, and your talent's probably not gonna meet your 100% because you already went on the decline. There's no turning back with you. But of one night, I wouldn't judge it yet.
But in the end, none of this squares with me, and I'll tell you why. Because he's in incredible shape, and like you said, he's got his trainers and he's got his sports psychologists and he's got everything, and his fans, and he's fighting at home, and not having to travel is a big thing. You got all your fans there. What was missing? I think in Spanish we call it huevos.
Right. And here's the problem. Hold on. Here's the problem, Hobby, that I have. Here's the problem. We all go through shit in life, right? We all do. We all take bumps and bruises. We all go through battles. We all take losses. There's one of 2 ways that you can deal with that. Number 1, you can take the overcautious way and be like, oh, I can't do that again. I can't go through that again. So I got to move cautiously to do that. Or you could say, I don't give a shit. I'm just going to take it as it is and throw this out here because I no longer care. I'm ready and prepared for those consequences, right? My issue with Joshua is that's already happened after one loss to Ruiz. He's not the creme de la creme in the heavyweight division. He's not worthy of 3 titles in the heavyweight division.
Okay, but that doesn't mean
he already lost it with Ruiz, and he ain't getting it back.
I can see why you think like that, but I mean, he lost to Ruiz. I don't think that Ruiz will give any heavyweight a walking. No, they're gonna give him some trouble for their money. It's not. Ruiz is not like the most good.
You like to see him fight. That's all. You like to see him fight.
Rob, no,
you don't know if he's gonna win.
He's right though. You're talking about Andy Ruiz like he's not gonna cause problems for literally anybody else.
He's
not.
Ruiz is not causing problems for
Wilder. He's not causing problems for Fury.
How do you know? How do you know?
You watch.
I mean, did you think Otto Wallen was going to be doing what he did to Fury?
Exactly.
No, you don't know until they get in there, man.
Right.
You
just because you don't know a fighter, just because
Otto Wallen
has a big noise and he's not mainstream, doesn't mean that he's not good. You know what I'm saying?
It's more of a point for me is that every time we talk about the top 3 heavyweights, right? Everybody's like the top 3 heavyweights, top 3 heavyweights. And they always put AJ in there. Now, we can definitively say, or question at least, is he the top 3? Is he in the top 3?
He's not in there. He's not in there.
He's not. He's not a top. He's not a top 3, but he's coming. And I tell you what, if
how quickly y'all turn. Wait. Let's take it back. I gotta say something now, okay?
Okay.
You realize, Javi, the 3 that are saying AJ ain't shit are the 3 that picked AJ to win.
Exactly.
What?
That's what I'm saying. That's what
Come
they're
on,
mad.
guys.
They're
Come on. I'm
They're
calling bullshit
disappointed.
on
That's
y'all.
what they're mad.
You don't
Exactly.
think he's shit. You think he's shit now. Come on with that.
Last week.
Wait a minute.
Last
Hold
week,
on.
the money-
Hold on. How
Let
about
us
that?
all
we
rebuttal.
money worse than
Shakira,
Wait a
David.
minute. Hold on.
Rebuttal, Shakira.
In my case, this was the first time I ever went for AJ. All the rest of the times, I've always said no. His chin is chin. But I felt like AJ knew this was a do or die moment for him, and that he could get the early KO. But that was depending on him actually realizing, hey, I'm the heavyweight in this. Usyk is the cruiserweight. And he woke up that morning and he forgot that principle that a heavyweight should be able to bully a cruiserweight. He literally woke up. His team said, let's just forget about all of that and let's try to outbox him. Yeah, that's the right decision.
Me?
James, what is your answer?
No, I
What is
did
your
want to go
rebuttal?
back
It's my
to.
first time
Okay.
ever saying
What?
AJ. Other than that, I've been on his case.
That's true. What I wanted to say about Andy Ruiz is this: that he's coming to the party. If Adam Konaki wins his next fight against Hellenius, we might see Ruiz against Hellenius. We might see him against the 600-year-old King Kong. He's going to fight somebody, and he's going to show you what his new condition is like. And Andy Ruiz, I'll tell you right now, he's coming to the party, and watch out.
Anybody. That's why when Ross
Coming to
He's got skills to pay the
It's
bills.
to be
and
continued.
Right.
Wait,
That's another.
you watch Ruiz
Or-
come.
Or to
He's
be
coming.
determined.
He's
I'll
coming.
say that's
and
to
he's-
be determined.
Well, I got
and
some
like-
news for you guys. Bob Aaron has proposed that Anthony Joshua's team agree for him to step aside and let them make a Fury versus Usyk undisputed fight next.
Yeah,
he
but
said they could take a comeback fight and be contractually guaranteed a shot at the winner for all 4 belts.
And there
Well,
goes what I was saying earlier. And there goes to because if let's say if it's a win to win for everybody and for both of them. Because if Usyk wins, then he fights the rematch with Usyk and get his titles back. If Tyson Fury wins, then we get this mega fight. He
Right.
cash out and he get his titles back. So I don't know what his advisors are thinking, but right now that's a win and win for all of us, for him, for the other fighter, for both of the teams, for the promoters, the network, us as fans. All I'm saying is, guys, when we ask our champions to fight top quality opposition,
Right.
we cannot be so quick to write them off just because. Well,
Yeah.
if we're gonna ask them to fight the top 5, the top 10 guys, then we should also be understanding when they lose, when they get defeated because they fighting top opposition. I'll be the first one to probably shit on a fighter if you're top 10 and you lost to somebody that's not belong in the ring with you. But
I agree completely.
Give
There
them
is
credit
way
for
too
fighting
many
True.
times
That's true.
that fighters
give them
don't
credit
get their
for that.
shot because of lack of fan base and stuff, and I really thought that was going to be happening in this case, but AJ stepped up to the plate, and what's he get for it? Shit on.
I think AJ is a
Yeah,
pro.
he's
Yeah,
stepped
no,
up to the
but-
plate for sure.
And you can
No,
be
but
a pro.
you know what, Lucas? He stepped on shit. That's
Thank
a difference.
you.
That's a difference.
thank you. Exactly.
Again, you
Now,
picked
to
him.
answer-
You
Feel
picked him.
like,
So now,
yeah,
right,
and-
right,
and-
one
and-
question.
and-
I
hold on.
Lucas
picked.
said that.
I picked.
I answered.
Usyk.
Oh no, you
I
did.
picked
You did
Usyk.
pick Usyk. I'm sorry. You picked Usyk.
Usyk
Yeah,
by
you got it.
decision.
Who
I got
picked
6
you?
Feel like
points.
he
That's
gets
right.
credit
You
for
got
the
it.
win.
You got it right.
I mean, he gets credit for getting in the ring with top opposition. He doesn't get credit for like looking terrible, like not even his regular standard. Like it's like you supposed to be in the big fights anyway when you're supposed to be like an undisputed title holder for heavyweights, and your name is mentioned as one of the top 3 heavyweights in this mix-up, guys.
Well,
Like, we're not asking
thanks,
too much
Usyk,
for
for
him
that one.
not to look like shit when he's fighting somebody else. Hello.
All right,
No,
guys.
The
Let's,
best, the best thing about this is that on October 9, we'll see another piece of the puzzle come out. And not to change subjects here, but I think that we're going to see Wilder come out on top, and
Yeah.
we'll see how that factors into him and Usyk. And it's PBC, DAZN again, but it is heavyweights and it's big time. Maybe they can make that happen.
I'm very excited for that fight. I'm very excited, and we'll be sure to have a big show next week for all that because I'm sure we're gonna be arguing on going on that fight. All right,
Predictions, anybody? No, I'm kidding.
Who was the
We'll
we'll
winner?
do that tomorrow
We'll wait.
or next Tuesday. What?
who was the one here that picked AJ here? I want to know why they picked AJ
No,
and what was the
decent.
reason. What was the reason behind it?
Look,
I chose
like
AJ. I chose AJ because I felt he understood that it was do or die for him in order to secure his money fight with Fury. Then I also thought he is the bigger guy, not muscles, but
Nice.
I like to say muscles, but because he was just the more imposing and could be more aggressive if he wanted to. So those were my two reasons for picking AJ. Even though in the back of my mind, I'm always like suspect on his chin.
Okay.
So that's why I chose him. I don't know other people's reasons.
What about you, James?
No, James
Boxing
picked
skills.
Usyk.
Boxing skills.
You
Plain
thought
and
it was
simple.
better than
Boxing
Usyk?
skills.
He picked
Footwork,
Usyk, yeah.
speed.
James picked Usyk.
I was wrong. He
You
picked
know.
Usyk.
Yeah,
I think
got
I
Usyk, yeah.
picked him. Okay, I'm gonna answer this damn question one way or the other tonight. I picked AJ. You know why? Because he had more power. He was a more powerful fighter. He was a true heavyweight, and because he was projected at the top 3 at heavyweight. Now, to answer what everybody who I know, including experts, after this fight said, who the hell wants to see Usyk Fury? Who the hell wants to see Usyk Fury?
That's
Nobody.
not fair.
I'm
That's
gonna
not
answer
fair.
Nobody.
That's not fair.
Y'all want to
I
see
was-
it because
Yeah.
y'all want to see it because he just
No,
won. Nobody wants to
it's not
see
fair
that
because
fight.
Usyk earned that fight. So I think that was a very disingenuous question for these people to be asking. I mean, Usyk won the fight. He has the titles that garners him that damn fight. So I don't
Give
understand
him
why we
that.
gotta then say, "Oh, who wants to see it?" Well, we want to see who's the unified champion. And if
it
he
doesn't matter who has
legitimately
it.
beat
This-
AJ, then he legitimately has the right to be up there with Fury in the conversation. So like, I don't like that. That's kind of like that's horrible. That's
Yeah,
horrible.
I think it's
And-
more like a you having this celebrity crush on your fighter, and now you cannot stand the fact that he lost, and the other guy is gonna get the opportunity to unify the belts. Listen, I mean, don't become emotionally attached to these fighters, but you gotta understand, if Usyk earned it, he deserves to get those titles. I would like to see him against Fury. I would like to see him against Wilder, against King Kong, against Bruce, and anybody that's gonna come and take his belts. Because at the rate, he's not the most fan-friendly fighter with his style, but I tell you what, Usyk is trouble.
Oh yeah,
He might keep those belts.
He
for some time.
is.
He
He
is.
is.
and I could
and
see.
Rob, what
Get
is
used to it, baby. Get used to it.
Rob? What is AJ's nickname now?
Ass juice.
Ah!
All right, Sakura, let's go to the tweet of the week.
Okay, switching subjects here, guys. We're gonna go to the Teofimo Lopez Cambosis debacle. In the latest, according to ESPN Ringside, because I know how much Rob loves ESPN, it says if the IBF finds Triller in default, the rights to Lopez Cambosis would revert to Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Sports, which would look to stage the fight on DAZN before the end of the year, sources tell us. And the news is that the fight has been moved to October 4th
Again,
between Teo and Cambosis. And it would be at the Barclays Center now instead of Madison Square Garden. So, the question I have for you guys is, do we care at this point? This fight has been moved this fight has been moved to different locations. It's been changed dates like 3 separate times now. And it was never the type of fight that we just like wanted to see so bad. And on top of things, Cambosis is now requesting that the WBA, I believe it is, sanction, a fighter, sanction Triller and Lopez for changing the fight if they don't want to give him like 200 and something thousand more dollars. So like, does he, first of all, do we care that the date is changed again? Second of all, do we mind the change in venue? And third of all, does Cambosos really have a right to ask for more money because this fight has been switched multiple times?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
just no,
if
no,
if
no. I just don't care. I don't. I just want the
at this
fight to go
point, man.
away, be
You know,
canceled for
I
good.
love Lopez, but at this point, it's like, damn, this fight is so bad, and I understand that they're having a new network, trailers like the new kid on the block and everything, but they made a horrible job marketing this fight and the way they're managing this whole process, where you can't blame for fans being turned off of it. By now, it's like, get it over with, get it out of the way, and move on because
it's what I saw when they had this purse bid initially. I thought,
Yeah,
how
that's
on
a lot of
earth are you
money.
going to make any money with a $6 million purse bid when Top Rank was really smart, and I think they were 2 point something, and there was another cat in there that maybe bid like 3 million, whatever it was. I don't know. But these guys came out with like 6.5, and I'm like, boy, you are in deep shit.
Yeah,
It's this
like that's
just
when
you
you
can't make
don't
these
have.
numbers. These
Yep.
numbers will never work for you. They'll never add up. You got to sell way too much.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
for Cambosos, I mean, maybe a good fighter and all, but he's just not. It's not like he was fighting Josh Taylor
Right.
or
No
yeah,
draw.
it's not the
some
hype.
really really big name out there or whatever Ramirez or something really really tasty.
Well, I'm
Nothing
sorry.
like
The
that.
correction was IBF.
Nothing
It
like
was the
that.
IBF that could say that Triller is in default. So I mean, the thing of it is I think it's a great lesson for Triller to learn. Like, you can take like To is an amazing fighter. He does sell, but at the same time, you still got to match him up with someone that people find that the boxing fans find worthy. And they should have had somebody with all the money they throw around. They should have had a real boxing person or an advisor to let them know, hey, this is the type of money that you pay for this particular fight versus if Lopez was fighting XYZ. Like
Hmm.
that just goes to speak to their inexperience and not being real true boxing people, as far as boxing fans and what a mega fight really is that garners that type of a purse. I
What?
mean,
How they
Bob
changed
Arum was
dates over?
laughing all the way to the bank.
They changed dates over. Yeah, because he got 20% of something, right?
Yeah, he still
I
got paid
believe.
off that. Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, he's making money sitting down. As he
Yeah.
didn't, that's perfect. But I mean, when
Here's
these
the
guys
thing.
start changing dates, they
Yeah.
just look plain ignorant.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Teofimo Lopez is not yet a proven star. I don't give a damn what he tries to say. He had a big bout on national television that garnered the views because it was against Lomachenko.
Yeah.
And everybody wanted to see Lomachenko against a valid opponent. Teofimo wasn't the one leading that draw. I don't 100% blame Triller for this. There was an issue with COVID, and even after the issue with COVID, Teofimo went on vacation. I think it's Lopez more than anything at this point, not wanting to get in the damn ring unless it's for the right money. I don't blame him for that because that's his prerogative, but it's time to show and tell.
But he
Well, I
got
mean,
the right money in this
what
fight, and it's still
he
not
got
happening.
this is his biggest payday, and he's
Yeah.
asking for more. I
No,
don't know.
it's Cambosis that's asking for more. He
Wish
wants money for them moving this fight again and says that they are really in breach of their contract by moving this fight again. And
yeah,
Guys,
he
because
wants
he's had to pay
IBF to
for
act on that.
he's
guys,
had to pay for 3 camps.
the whole that's
Yeah.
the whole issue started with Teofimo testing positive for COVID and then not being ready because he decided to take a vacation after said COVID. And this stuff happens now with the negotiations.
Well, I feel like you test positive for COVID. He said he didn't really have any symptoms. That's not his fault per se. That's considered COVID is considered like up there with a natural disaster in your contracts.
Enough for
But
you to go on vacation?
well, you got to sit out anyway. If you got COVID, you're not gonna be allowed to
Yeah,
fight.
so let's go on vacation. Come on, y'all. It is what it is. Teofimo don't want this fight.
I kind of agree with Rob. I mean,
I
I
mean,
understand you're
he
out
can't
anyway,
fight
but that
either
don't
way.
mean
He
you go
can't
kick
fight
it
either
either.
way.
He'll take the
Especially,
payday.
but it is
He'll
what it
take
is.
the payday.
Guys, he had no symptoms. He tested positive, but he had no symptoms, and he can't fight. They're not gonna let you fight once you test positive, obviously.
Shakur.
So, what does it matter what he does with his time at that point?
Shakur, I
But-
had COVID, but I don't have any symptoms. I'm just gonna go to Buffalo Wild Wings and infect everybody in the place, or
First
put
of
them all
it
at
wasn't
risk.
that kind of vacation. You go on your private plane. This is not like you or I
Oh,
traveling.
okay,
Getting
yeah.
on a
Oh, it's
regular
not
flight.
right.
You go
It's
on your
not
private
right.
plane, and you never get. You go to your house in the Mediterranean. You're not exposing yourself to a million people. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like if you or I decided we want to go on vacation and we got to get on a regular flight with plenty of people and shit. Like,
Speaking
we'll
of
have to
COVID,
check it. You got to check into a hotel. This dude ain't got to do none of that shit.
Well, in the end, it's set for October 16th. Is that correct? On Saturday
14th.
Dang,
at
is
Barclays.
that the new date? I mean,
October 16th, I believe.
I think it's 14th off top.
16
And
or
if he
14.
loses
my
this
God.
fight, I'm coming for his ass.
Dale Peoples. I
Oh.
didn't get to read this one. I picked
Six-
Usyk to
six-
win, but when
October.
is it repeated as AJ? Remind me of a 21st century Frank Bruno.
Ooh, that's harsh. Ooh, that's harsh.
not
All right.
Frank.
Stick figure,
I'm cool
Frank.
with it.
Well, I definitely appreciate everybody tuning in. I'm gonna have to cut the thing a little short today. Usually, I guess it's about normal time.
Yeah.
But thank you all for tuning in, and don't forget to check us out next Tuesday. Probably got a special guest on. Follow all of our social media so I can let you know. Thanks again for checking us out. We don't pull any punches. HeavyBagBoxing.com. See you again next